I just filmed this whole video and realized that the microphone was not recording, so I hope you live, laugh, love the audio quality this whole video. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today it is time for the mid-year book freakout tag. This is the tag that I do every year in the middle of the year when reality starts to sink in that it's the middle of the year and that we're, only 6 months out from the end of the year. And it's like, have I read anything? There's only 6 months left in the year. I gotta meet my goals. I gotta read all the things. I gotta get my hands on all of the books. It's just, it gets a little stressful. It's one of those things where it's like, this is a first world problem. You're stressing over something that does not need to be stressed over. But welcome to my life. That's what I do. I overthink everything. I stress over absolutely nothing. And I'm just a little ball of anxiety waiting to be popped. Anyway, today I'm gonna be doing the mid-year book freakout tag where I just talk about some of the reading things that I've done so far this year and some things that I'm looking forward to in the future. I am going to be linking the original creators down below in the description. But before we get to the tag, today's video has a sponsor. Today's video is being sponsored by Book of the Month. My favorite, my bestie, my one true love, Book of the Month. If you're new here, you've probably never heard of Book of the Month, so let me fill you in. Book of the Month is a fast-growing and super popular subscription service dedicated to readers, aka you and me. It takes the weight of book shopping off your shoulders by coming at you each month with a list of book titles that have been carefully curated by the Book of the Month team. They help you stock your shelves with new and emerging authors, a variety of genres, and books that will end up on your list of favorites. Book of the Month is risk-free, so if there's a month where you're just not feeling the selections, you can easily skip a month without being charged. Each month they come at us with 5 to 7 book selections, and today I'm going to be going over some of June's selections. First up here we've got Things We Do in the Dark, which is a mystery thriller, The Stardust Thief, which is an adult fantasy, Woman of Light, which is a historical fiction book, The Lies I Tell, another mystery thriller, and in the iconic blue box this month we have ooh, The Lifestyle. I love this cover, and this is a contemporary romance story. I think out of these selections, the one that I'm the most excited for is the one that just happens to be on the bottom of the stack here, The Lies I Tell. This is essentially about a con artist and this girl who is looking to expose this con artist who took advantage of her life and just completely upended it. But when she begins to grow closer to this con artist, she realizes quickly that things are not exactly as they seem. I'm intrigued. If you're looking to join Book of the Month, you can use my code Jesse to get your first book for only $9.99. I'll be sure to leave a link down below in the description with more information on Book of the Month. And speaking of Book of the Month, they actually have just started recently a podcast. The podcast is called Virtual Book Tour, which I will leave a link to it down below in the description. And essentially we've got the team over at Book of the Month interviewing different authors through this podcast, essentially creating a virtual book tour. Again, I will leave a link down below in the description to where you can find that podcast. Thank you to Book of the Month for sponsoring today's video, and now it's time to get to the tag. Let's get to it. Best book you've read so far in 2022. I'm gonna have to go with my girl, Miss Addie LaRue, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This book had no right being this good. Holy heck. I knew it was gonna be good. I've been putting off this book for so long. Obviously it's mega popular. There's a billion editions of this book. So many people have read this book. TikTok loves this book, but I just put it off because, the hype was up here. I was a little scared of the hype being up there and it not reaching my expectations, but boy, oh boy, did it reach my expectations. Did it surpass my expectations? I loved this book. In this book, we are following Addie LaRue, who essentially made a deal with the devil in order to live forever. But there's a catch. Making this deal means that nobody will ever remember her. None of her family or loved ones or a stranger that she meets on the street, nobody, absolutely nobody will remember her name. But one day, Addie meets this guy named Henry, and Henry just so happens to remember her name. I could probably write an essay on why exactly I love this book so much, but on the flip side, I could also probably write an essay on why people don't connect with this story. Because I know that while there are a lot of people that diehard love this book like me, I also know that there is a club of people that do not like this book, do not connect to it. And you know what? That is valid. This book is not for everybody, but I loved this book. Specifically in terms of the characterization, I loved this book. I loved exploring Addie's character, and also just the details of her character were so nice. I feel like you could just really tell that V.E. Schwab did a lot of work of just really getting into the nitty-gritty of this character and exploring her. We see how living forever has taken a toll on Addie and the way that she lives her life. She kind of has this kind of disconnected feeling about her because it's been so hard for her to connect to people because she can't connect to people. People forget her. You kind of see how she's hesitant to connect to Henry because of the fact that she spent her whole life not being able to connect to people. While I personally loved the plot and I felt like it was a strong aspect of the story, I know that it's not a book where you're signing up for the plot. You are signing up for the characters. You are signing up to follow this character on a journey of kind of signing a deal with the devil and what comes with that. If you're somebody who often thinks about time and how time is running out and how you want to make a mark on the world and how you're afraid of being forgotten, this is the book for you. Let me tell you yeah, it will like mess with you. Like you'll probably overthink this thing that you've already been overthinking, but it's just so great. It's golden. I love this book, and I have way too many editions of this book. Like, let me show you my problem, you guys. Let me show you my Invisible Life of Addie LaRue problem that I have created for myself over here. This, I must say, is both a problem and a flex, but this is what I mean by this book having so many editions. Like, my poor wallet, it's crying, sobbing, but I have no regrets because these are beautiful. Best sequel you've read so far in 2022. I'm gonna have to give this to a book that's not new. It's not like a new release or anything, but that is Heartstopper 2, Heartstopper Volume 2. I read volumes 1 and 2 before the Heartstopper series dropped on Netflix because that's what I heard the show encompassed, and wow, did I have regrets immediately after reading these 2 volumes because I had put off reading them, and when I read them, I was like, why did I put reading you off? Because you are excellent, you are wholesome, you are everything, quite literally. Also, I'm really glad that I decided to get these Fairy Loot exclusive editions because I loved them so much. I bought these when I hadn't read Heartstopper yet, so it was kind of like a gamble. I was taking a little bit of a risk buying these, especially because they hurt my wallet quite a bit. But like, now that I've read it and I loved it, I have zero regrets. These are beautiful, and the story is beautiful, and it just made me happy. Anyway, let's talk about the overall story. If you don't know anything about Heartstopper, it's essentially about these 2 boys who are attending an all-boys school, and they connect, become friends, and then their friendship develops into something deeper, like, you know, a little romance situation. We follow a character who is both confident in his sexuality and then a character who is figuring out his sexuality. It's just one of those books where it's like wholesome to its core. Like, you read these books and you just smile, you feel happy, you feel giddy inside, you almost get like the butterflies. Like, that's what Alice Oseman was able to achieve with this. Like, you feel that like jittery, gushy love bug biting you essentially, and I loved that aspect of this book, and like, I want to study Heartstopper and figure out just exactly how she did that. Like, I did not realize that reading these books would be like taking a little happy pill, but that's exactly what it was like. Also, the series is fantastic. It was an excellent adaptation, and I must read volumes 3 and 4. I need Fairy Loot to drop their editions of 3 and 4 before I'm able to read them. Maybe I'll check them out from the library. That's a good idea. Best new release you've read so far in 2022. For this one, I'm gonna have to go with Golden Boys by Phil Stamper. Can I just say that I feel like Phil Stamper is such an underrated author? I've only technically read 2 of his books, The Gravity of Us and Golden Boys, but I loved both of these books. Like, so far, Phil Stamper has not missed with me. So far, he's putting out bangers, and I feel like nobody talks about his books, and it's kind of frustrating to me because these are excellent books. They're so great. In Golden Boys, we essentially follow a group of friends, a group of boys, 4 boys who are all gay, and they're spending their summer before their senior year kind of separated from each other. They're all kind of doing different things the summer before their senior year. And it's both essentially about their friendship and the things that tie them together, but also them being apart from each other for the first time in a long time and kind of figuring out if they're able to stand on their own. And I just loved it so much. It was so charming. I loved following kind of the depths of their friendship. They're all on these different journeys too. Like, they're all exploring their identities away from each other, and it's kind of the first time where they're like independently thinking and kind of exploring different things they might have never done within the friend group. They're doing it outside of the friend group, and it's just really awesome to see them kind of grow, but then they also like come together and they're all just like better together, but they're also amazing on their own. I don't know, I just really loved the exploration of this friend group, and I feel like this is the perfect book to read if you are like a senior or you're going into your senior year, because I know that it can be kind of like intimidating and scary, like going into your senior year and feeling like the last chapter of your life is coming to a close. Like, I remember being in high school and feeling like my senior year was it. Like, after senior year, well, I'm done, that's the end of life. Like, no, there's obviously life after senior year, but it is scary going into that year and kind of figuring out what the next chapter of your life is going to be and not having all these people that you know by your side, essentially. So I love the Golden Boys. I highly recommend checking it out. Add it to your TBR right now. Do it. What's a new release that you haven't read but you want to get to? I honestly have a lot that I've been meaning to pick up and read, but one that shocked me that I didn't know was happening was a new Ruta Sepetys book. Hello? I had no idea this book was happening, and I just like one day saw on Twitter like the book cover and I was like, Ruta Sepetys? Hello? Why didn't you come knocking on my door telling me you had a new book coming out? If you didn't know, I'm a big Ruta Sepetys fan. I love several of her books, and it just shocked me that I didn't know about this new release. It went completely under my radar. This book, I Must Betray You, I honestly don't know too much about. I will say I feel betrayed by it because I didn't know it was coming out, but I do know that it digs into Romanian history, and it gives insight to when Nicolae Ceausescu was in office in the dark and dreary time that followed for the people of Romania when he was in office. this. I'm looking forward to reading this book. I just adore Ruta. I love her writing style. I love how she explores her characters in her books. I just love learning about the different things that she brings up. Obviously, I do not use her books as like textbook, but I do feel like I learn a lot coming out of Ruta's books. I'd say that the other like new release that I haven't gotten to that I am like needing to read ASAP, The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. Like I need to read this book so soon because it sounds so excellent. I feel like it's going to feed this like desperation inside of me for a book that feels like Studio Ghibli. Like this book, when I read the description, it just sounded like a Studio Ghibli film. And I feel like I just need to read it because that's something that I've been craving for so long. In this book, we follow Mina, and her village is consistently wrecked by these like chaotic storms. And every year her village sacrifices a maiden to the sea god in order to potentially bring some peace to the village in hopes that, you know, maybe he'd stop creating these chaotic storms that are literally wrecking her village. When Mina's older brother's girlfriend is chosen as the maiden, Mina's like, nah, you're not jumping into the sea, you're not sacrificing yourself, I want you and my brother to live together happily. So Mina, being the best sister ever that she is, just like sacrifices herself into the sea. When she gets into the sea, she finds out that the sea god is in this like deep sleep, and so she must go on a journey to wake him up. But it's not going to be easy, obviously, because that would be boring. That wouldn't give us an exciting, thrilling story. Obviously, she goes on this treacherous journey in order to wake him up. I need to read it so soon. I read a book by Axie O recently that I really enjoyed called XOXO, and so I'm looking forward to reading this. Also, it'll be nice because XOXO is a contemporary story. This is a fantasy story, so I'm excited to kind of see how she is different in terms of different genres. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Again, I have so many that I'm excited for, but I'm gonna keep it, you know, short and sweet here. I'm gonna try my best at least. Chloe Gong has a new book coming out called Foul Lady For... What's the title of it? Foul Lady Fortune. Fortune Lady Foul? Foul Lady Fortune is the title. That's the title. That is... Google Foul Lady Fortune. Is that what I said? Anyway, this is a book by Chloe Gong. I loved These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. It was just brutal, fantastic, violent. I loved it. I need to read the sequel. That is something else that I need to make a priority. I need to read that sequel. But this one just sounds so great. This takes place in Shanghai in the 1930s, and we are following this pair of spies who have to fake a marriage between the two as they investigate these brutal murders that are taking place. Kind of the fake dating trope, but it kind of crosses a line into fake marriage. I love that. And I'm also just very eager to see how Chloe Gong has like leveled up as an author, because obviously like I personally loved These Violent Delights, but that was her debut book. So it'll be nice to see like just how much she's grown as an author, because I know that she has. I know this book is going to be a banger. I know it's going to do what it needs to do. I know it's going to come into my life and wreck me. I know that I'm going to get overly attached to these characters and they are going to mess up my life. That's what I can expect with the Chloe Gong book. So looking forward to be wrecked by you, Fortune Foul Lady Fortune, Foul Lady Fortune. That's the title. Then, of course, I don't know that I talked about this in a video yet because I just haven't gotten around to it, but like the other day, well, it wasn't the other day, but like maybe a month or two ago, I woke up one morning, I opened my Instagram as I do. I nearly had a heart attack. I didn't nearly have a heart attack, I'm dramatic, but like I opened up my Instagram to find that Ransom Riggs was just like, oh yeah, there's a new Peculiar book coming out. There's a new Peculiar book coming out. Excuse me? Hello? The book that's coming out, I'm actually gonna read the title because it's so long, is Miss Peregrine's Museum of Wonders, an indispensable guide to the dangers and delights of the peculiar world for the instruction of new arrivals. That is a long title. Like, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children is already a mouthful. That is a tongue twister in its own, but this is... I'm gonna take your tongue and tie it in a knot as you try to say this title. Anyway, I'm excited for this. This is definitely going to be more of like a fandom-y book. Like, it's for the fans. I think it's kind of like, if you love this series, you're gonna love this book. You're gonna love getting these little insights. I obviously still have so much love for this series in my heart that I am highly anticipating the release of this. Biggest book disappointment of the year so far. I absolutely hate being a Debbie Downer, but I'm going to be a Debbie Downer right now. It's a popular book that a lot of people love. That is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This is a book that just like blew up on TikTok over the past few years. And listen, I understand the love for it. I do. I genuinely, like, I get the appeal. It just was not for me. Let's back it up though before I get into what I thought about it. What's the book even about? Each decade, a set of 6 talented magicians are essentially brought in to be initiated into the Secret Alexandrian Society. Is that what it's called? I don't think it's the Secret Alexandrian Society. I think it's just the Alexandrian Society. But it is a secret society, so it works. And what that is a secret society of magicians who have access to infinite amounts of knowledge and power. What about it did not work for me? World building? Where you at? Clocked? Where you at? Those were like the two main things that didn't really work for me. And honestly, if I read a book and the characters are amazing, I can overlook those things. It's fine. As long as the characters are there and like really bringing things to the table, like just serving it up, I can overlook the plot not being there. I can overlook world building being like so whack, but I didn't care about any of the characters. I really felt nothing, and I really felt, one thing that I did not like about this book, I felt like each character had their like shtick. They had their one thing. This character is sexy. This character is super smart. You know, like they had their little shticks and they stuck to their shticks. They were not layered characters. They were one-dimensional, in my opinion. Obviously, that's just my opinion. Don't hate me, please. I get the appeal of this book. I genuinely do. Like, atmospherically, is atmospherically a word? Probably not. The atmosphere of this book, incredible. I loved it. I loved the vibes. The one thing that this book had going for it was the vibes. I was here for it. But it just wasn't for me. It didn't work out. We are not going steady, unfortunately. Biggest surprising book of 2022 so far. I absolutely have to give this to Twice Shy. This is an adult contemporary romance story. If you know me at all, you know that I typically am not down with the romance genre. But I read this and I loved it so much. So what's it about? In this book, we are following Maybelle, who has inherited this home from her aunt, but when she gets there to this house, she finds out not only that the house is a mess, but also the fact that she is a co-inheritor with this guy named Wesley. They both have different visions for what they want to do with this property, and we follow them as they work to make a compromise and as they begin to build a bit of a romance situation. Oh my god, okay. Did I just have a stroke? I think I did. I'm not typically suited for books like this. This book awakened a love for romance with me. Those words just left my mouth, but it genuinely did. Like, I did not ever think that I would be one to be like, I want to read a romance book. This book was like, hello, there is a part of you that does like books like this. You just have not explored it in a way that you need to explore it. And in some ways I'm forever grateful, but in other ways I'm like, bruh, you literally put me into a spiral. You literally came into my life and just messed it up, because I thought that I knew myself. I thought that I knew my taste. I was like, yeah, I know what I like. I know what I want in a book. This book was like, no, you don't. You don't know anything about your taste. You don't know anything about what you like, which was fine. You know, I accept it. It made me want to like explore a genre that I genuinely was like steering clear of in the bookstore. Anyway, this was wholesome. I love the character Wesley. I felt like I related to him on so many levels. Like, it's another character where I'm like, oh, I see myself in you. I see myself in you a lot. It's not necessarily a good thing, because a lot of his flaws are the things that I related to. Also, the romance is more so in that like slow burn territory, but I think that's what I like. I think those are the type of romance books that I like. I like the slow burn situations. So if you have any slow burn romance recommendations, leave them down below in the comments. I never thought I'd see the day where I'm asking for romance recs, but here I am. The most beautiful book you've bought or received this year. I have a few covers that I genuinely love. I love An Arrow to the Moon. There's something about this that I just really, really like. A Magic Steeped in Poison. This cover art is stunning. Like, I want this framed in my room. I think the book that knocks all other books out of the park is this Woven Kingdom edition that Illumicrate did. Are you joking? Like, they really did not have to do this, but they did this. Like, they really said, we're on the next level here with this book. We are going to take the original and we're gonna be like, nah, you're average at best. We are going to be the best. And that's what they did. Like, it's too good. Last question. What books do you need to read before the end of 2022? I'm gonna make a little TBR right here, right now. 1 second. Okay, I made a little TBR. I say little, but it's pretty decent. These are some books that I would really like to get to before the end of the year. First up here, we've got The Silence of Bones. I've been trying to read this book for like 3 years now. I think 3 years, yeah. What's wrong with me? I want to read it. It's like historical fiction set in Korea. I gotta get to it. 1,000 Steps into Night. This is about a girl who wakes up and realizes that she's turning into a demon. Light from Uncommon Stars. This description sounds incredible. This girl makes a deal with the devil. And basically, girl's gotta steal some souls for the devil because of this deal that she made. A Court of Thorns and Roses. I've read it already, but I'm gonna give it a reread. I'm gonna try to get on track with this series. Keyword try. All Our Hidden Gifts. This book just sounds so fun. It's about this girl who does like a tarot reading, and her friend after the tarot reading like goes missing, and she has to figure out where she went. It's clear that her tarot reading is the reason that her friend went missing. I need to know what goes on in this book. I need the drama, the tea. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. We've talked about this already. I gotta read it. Oh, my stack is falling over here. History of Wild Places. This was a book of the month book a while back. This is a mystery thriller that just sounded really intriguing to me. I feel like people go missing because of this author. I think she's writing this fictional story and people are like somehow going missing in the story. I'm probably really far off, but don't tell me if I am, because that's just what I think is going on here. Okay, the last one on my list, Malibu Rising. I need to read more Taylor Jenkins Reid because after reading Evelyn Hugo and falling madly in love with it, I just need more from this author. I need more. Those are some books that I want to read by the end of the year. Will I get to any of these? Lord help me, please. You know I have a hard time with TBRs. Big man upstairs, you know. Send me some of that good luck sauce. Alright guys, that is it for the mid-year book freakout tag. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I want to hear from you guys down below in the comments. I want to hear a few things. I want to hear, one, what has been your favorite book so far in the year of 2022? Also, I want to know what book you are highly anticipating. Let me know down below in the comments. What book are you like dying to get your hands on before the end of the year? Again, thank you to Book of the Month for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget you can get your first book for only $9.99 using the code Jesse. I will leave a link down below in the description for more information. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright and tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires and I will see you soon with that note video. Bye. I need a haircut real freaking bad. Okay, it's still disappointing hair, but when is it not? When is it not? It's always disappointing. Okay. Whew, 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 whew. Why does it feel like I haven't filmed in forever? It's because I honestly haven't. It's been a second since I've sat down to film a video. Okay. Oh my gosh, I almost just dropped everything. Just out here exposing myself, being in shorts. This girl is on fire. If you didn't know, I'm a boot. It sounds excellent. I loved These Violent Delights by these. I almost said I loved these violent. I almost just said I loved These Violent Delights by the Chloe Glong. I'm having a stroke.